Welcome back to our Excel class. My name is Taylor Akinwale Williams, and we're going to continue from where we stopped the last lesson. Okay, if you need to uh, know what we've done in the past classes, please refer to our other video in our YouTube channel. All right, and you are going to get a whole lot of videos that precede this particular class. All right. So today we are going to be looking at your index and index match. We are also going to be doing your if error function and ifs function. Okay, so this is the data we've been considering for ample of our classes. And we have data as order date, region, city, category, product, quantity, unit price, total price, business type, order number. All right, so I want to apply the if error function and the ifs function. Okay, that is what I want to do here. Okay, and how do I do that? Uh, Assuming have, I'm going to be using the unit price, and assuming I have the first 5 or 6 rows in the unit price as, uh, let's say, not available. All right, let me do that for the first 6. Okay, let's say these are not available, and there is a need for me to multiply this unit price by, let's say, 1.5. Okay, so I want to multiply each of these unit price by 1.5. Maybe there is an extra mark or point, that they need to. So I'll just say equals to multiply this by 1.5. All right, and once you check down, okay, these ones that have not available value are going to return as error. So this is more like an error return, and most often in your data it doesn't look tidy and you don't want to have this. You can now use your if error function to return a better format. Okay, so this is where the if error function comes to play, and I'm going to do if error. You can see Excel already suggested. So I want to do if error. Okay. Now it's saying what's the value? This is the value. So what is the value if it's error, comma, and I'm going to quote that. What is the value I want? I want that not available. I want it back. And I am going to close my bracket. So I'm saying to Excel, if this operation is returning error, please return it as not available, as I had it in the, or as I have it in the original value or in the original data. All right, and once I click that, I can still check down. Now that operations will be applicable for those that return as error, and but for this, okay, this are still fine. We're still good with this. And you can even return it as empty, all right, by removing that not available. Just open the quote and leave that, and you see it as empty, all right? So it's now empty. You don't have anything because it's an error value. It's an error return, okay? um don't forget, it doesn't mean nothing because you might want to be tempted to say, oh, there's nothing here. No, there is a formula here, there's a value here that will return as empty. All right, that's why it is like that. So that is your if error function. The next one is ifs function. Ifs function is more like your nested ifs. Your nested if, that is, you want to apply condition. So what we want to do is that if what we have here, which is our point added unit price, if it is this, what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be no point? Do you want to be point? Do you want to be extra point? So that's what I'm going to be doing. So what do? We do equals to ifs, all right? Equals to ifs. So, and that is giving you as what is your logical test one. What's your logical test one? Remember, this is nested if, so it is called a logical function. We have not dealt with logical function, but I'm just trying to let us see how we can use your if error and if function. So we're still going to deal with logical functions separately. We're still going to deal with logical functions separately, all right? Now, if that is done, what is your logical test? So I want to say if this, okay, uh, if this equals to, all right, if this value equals to, all right, empty, okay, what's the logic function? If this equals to empty, okay, then return as what? The same empty. Remember, it was empty, okay? That's what I'm saying. So if this equals to empty, all right, return as empty, then you can now say if this, okay, let's say return as no point, no point, okay? And the other thing is if this, again, is less than, let's say less than, we're just setting any condition less than 2 or 1.5 is less than 1.5. Okay, what do you return? You return as, please, you have to quote your return. You return as some point, all right? Okay, you click comma. If this, okay, is greater than 2 or greater than or equals to 2, what do you return it as? You return it as I point. All right, I point. Okay, and let's say this is point. All right, so instead of some point, okay, let's say this is point. Okay, let's say this is point, and this is I point, and you close the bracket. So it returns it for you. Once we check down, we are going to see it now. So I said if this unit price in Naira is empty, remember this is empty, so we're setting a condition. If this is empty, all right, if this is empty, there is no point for it. So we want to allocate some points for reward to our customers, assuming, all right, this is just an hypothetical example. But if uh, the point is, if the unit price is less than 1.5, all right, we say there are points, all right. So let's see if we have points, okay. I guess it's either no point or high point, and we said if it is greater than or equals to 2, so anything from 2 or greater than 2 is high point. All right, so that is how to do your nested ifs and what? And your if error function. Okay, so let's move to, I hope you understood that. All right, so for the purpose of recap, what we just did here is we multiply, we have an error here, assuming you don't have the data available, and you carried out operation, multiplication operation, and it returned it as error. You can use your if error value to return a proper tidied value or no value or even a text value for it to, you know, look decent. And what we're now trying to do is we want to allocate some point to these customers, and we said we are going to use our nested if command, which is saying that if this is empty, the customer has no point, but if it's greater than or equals to 2, it has I point, and if is less than 1.5, it has some point. All right, so that is what we did, but there's none that's less than 1.5, so we don't have any point. We either have no point or high point. So let us go to our index and index match. So what index does, still the same table, is that uh, assuming you have a whole table, okay, this is a whole table, all right, about 244 count, okay, and I just need I just need the return of this quantity and unit price based on these first 10 order numbers. So I will have my index match for order number. Now I want the quantity as I have it in this table, and I want the unit price as I have it in this table. So for this order number one, I'm going to have 33 and 1.77. Order number two, so instead of copying them out and pasting here, copying this out and pasting here, I can use my index match, all right, which is going to give me my exact match to return all the quantity value and unit price value for each of these order number. All right, that is what index match does for you. That's what it does for you. All right. So, and the first thing is we're going to look at the index. All right, what index does. So equals to index, equals to index. All right, don't forget, follow this. Array, whenever you see array in Excel, it means to highlight all the table. All right, that's array. All right, and how I'm going to do is I'm not going to highlight the headers with the value. We're talking about the row alone, that's the value. We're not talking about the column. All right, so I start from A2, Control Shift, right arrow, down arrow, and uh, I am going to, okay, I will show you something here. I'll show you something here. So, comma, and is asking for the row number and the column number, all right? It's asking for the row number and the column number. The row number is, I mean, the first one, which is 1, okay? And the column number, uh, under the quantity, what's the number of the quantity? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5. So I'll write 5. Okay, I'll close the bracket and enter. So it returned that as 33 for me. It returned that as 33 for me. And let me see if I drag down, am I going to have exact value? 33, 87, yeah. 58, yeah. 82, okay. 38, 54, 149, 5128. Yeah, it's correct. Okay. However, if I drag to this right hand side, okay, uh, let's see if it's going to have it for me. Yeah, so index match has it like that. I mean, index has it like that. Okay, so it worked, right? It worked. Is it correct? 1000, right? And okay, 1.77, 28, 1.35. Yeah, it worked. Okay, great. However, if I want you to follow me carefully. So this is for index, right? But how do we now bring in index match? Okay, okay. Let me, you remember this array. I want to lock this array. I want to lock this array. All right, and once I lock this array as with F4, both the row and column, and I enter, the first one is still correct, but let's look at the second one. You can see that as I lock this array, the returns are no longer correct. Let me also do for the column, the returns are no longer correct. All right. But if you do not lock it, the returns will be correct. But now that I have just locked it, why is that? We're going to find out. Okay. We're going to find out. Okay. Let me just undo and get back to my first value. So this is what I have as my index. And like I told you, if I check down and check down is correct without locking, but I want to lock. Okay. So if I lock, okay, if I lock this with F4, okay, and I check down and check left, is no longer correct. If I check left, is no longer correct. So how do I correct that using my index match? That's what we want to do here. So we now introduce match. We already have index. We now introduce match. We already have index. Okay. And so for the one which is the row, I'm going to have match. All right. I'm going to have match. Okay. It's now saying what is the lookup value. I want to look up this, and I am going to lock the column. All right, I'm going to lock the column, which is the column is my what? My alphabet. So F4, 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 three times. So that is lock. I'll press comma. It's now saying what is the lookup array. The next thing you have to do is the one that is bold. So as you press comma, you are going to see the next bold. So the once I'm done with this lookup array, the next bold will be match type, which is the exact match. All right, we are using in this case. So what is the lookup array? So it's asking this thing, this value 100242, I want to look up. From which array do I want to look it up? All right, so I will highlight this from top to bottom, and I'm going to close everything. And the next comma, we bolding that match type, comma. So it's now asking me, is it less than, is it exact match, or greater than? I want exact match, 0. All right, and okay, and I am going to close that bracket. All right, and enter. So let's see if something has changed now. Because I locked for the column, remember column is this, it has returned exactly what I have here. All right, it has returned it, but let's see if it's returning for this. Okay, it is not returning properly for the unit price, because these are unit price and it's still returning for this because I locked with reference to the column. All right, so let me undo that. It means I still have to do for my column. All it did was for my row. All right, so I still have to do for my column. All right, and so for this, I'll cancel the 5. I'll introduce another match for the column. So it's asking me what is the column value, and that will be what? That will be this. All right, okay, and I'm going to lock the row, which is the 2. All right, which is the 2, and that will be F4, F4, all right, twice. And I write comma. So it's saying, where do I have this quantity? I have this quantity from this A to this value. So I am going to click on it, Control Shift, right arrow. I'm going to lock with F4, comma, what match, exact match, and I'll close the bracket. And once that is that, I will do enter. Okay, and I'll go down, it will be correct. And once I go to the left, you can see how your index match has helped us to pick this value, this value, this value, this value. This first 10 value have been extracted out to this index match table using the index match function. So whether you want to use your index or you want to use your index match is a matter of choice. But I would rather say you should learn how to use index match. All right, we will see you in the next class. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a great day.